Pleased that Dr. John Baugh is back with us here on the air. You know, he's the chief medical officer and the co-founder of Remote Health Solutions. And Dr. Baugh, what's your take on this push for testing? We've been talking about it for a month. Increase the testing, increase the testing. It doesn't sound like Virginia has been very successful at actually executing on that. Do you have an assessment of whether that's still the smart strategy and what's happened in the Commonwealth of Virginia that's preventing us from doing it?
Yeah, John, thanks for having me back.
Sure, yeah.
You know, when we look at the number of tests that we need, the epidemiologists tell us that we should be having about a 10% positive test rate to be able to know that we're testing in the right number of patients so that we get a real feel of how many patients are positive out in the community, as opposed with the new onset testing and with the antibody testing as well, so we can get an idea of that. You know, definitely in Virginia, we're not there yet. We still need to test more so that we can get that number lower, so we have a better idea of what's going on. Now, I mean, this is multifactorial. Now, I don't know all those reasons why that has. You know that we've been increasing the testing recently, and that's one of the reasons why we did see a little spike in the positive number of cases sort of the last few days of April and into May. But we do see those overall numbers moving down now, or the new cases moving down, so that's good.
Why do you think there was that little spike? I mean, it wasn't a huge spike, but it was notable at the end of April. I mean, all these weeks where I got to be honest with you, I'm surprised so many people have been responsive to the executive orders to, stay home, and if they were out to social distance, I think people have been, pretty compliant, shockingly, about that. What, did we miscalculate the incubation period? What do you think that's attributed to?
No, I do think that had actually a lot to do with the number of tests that were being done. That was right at the time where we started increasing that test number. And so we saw more tests being done, so we saw more positive tests coming back. And then we got to see that down tick a little bit in the percentage of positive tests, which meant that we were increasing the number of tests being done. So that's why we saw more positive tests at that time. It's just we increased our testing numbers.
I think there are some people, and I may be about to join their camp, who are a little skeptical that some in the government are using the testing as a way to kind of fudge the numbers in order to maintain control here. From a political standpoint, I can understand, you don't want to be the governor of any state and suddenly a whole bunch of people start dying. So if you are really motivated by, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure that the history book isn't written about thousands of people dying with me as the governor, I think that's a very real personal concern for some of these people. But do you think we're shooting straight with everybody about the test numbers and how they're being compiled and how the deaths are being recorded, whether that's accurate or not?
Yeah, I'll say this from the medical side. I'll stay out of the political a little bit there. From the medical side, when the physicians and the medical officials, like, we strive every day to be accurate with our diagnoses and accurate with our testing and accurate with all that stuff. And so I think that when we start reporting those numbers from the medical side, we're being as accurate as we can. And obviously there is some political desire to make things look as good as possible. But I have to hope, I have faith in humanity, I have faith in individuals, and I have to hope that that kind of follows through all the individuals, both in political positions as well as medical positions.
One would hope. And we'll leave that conversation right there, because I could go on for another couple of hours about it. Real quick before we go, I know you were concerned that a lot of people were scared to go see the doctor or even to go to the emergency room when they needed to, because they were so fearful of contracting the virus. What's the solution to that?
Well, I think that what that solution is a little bit of continued public education, and also the fact that as individuals get more comfortable with their environment and their community, and as they see those numbers going down, then we are starting now to see our non-COVID patients come back to the ER. And that's what we're starting to see now. We're starting to see people come back. And we did have a long period where patients were anxious to come back, especially patients in skilled nursing facilities and nursing homes, where they knew if they came, they were going to go back and have a 14-day quarantine in their room back at their facility, which was sort of intimidating for them. But I think that we're starting to see that curve reverse a little bit as people are starting to see that those overall numbers are starting to come down, and as they're looking forward to the loosening of the quarantine isolation regulations as well.
Mm-hmm. Dr. John Baugh is the Chief Medical Officer and the co-founder of Remote Health Solutions. And listen, every time we talk, I really appreciate the chance to kind of walk through these issues, in large part because I know you don't want to go political on me, and I appreciate the objectivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, John.
Okay, 8:44 on this Wednesday morning. We'll come back. We'll talk about the weather, a couple of other things before we begin to wrap up here. Next on